7 signs you're doing well financially, even if it doesn't feel like it, combined with time to bring my new supercars to my new headquarters by Manny Koshman. Now, Manny Koshman is one of Ferdinand's friends, and Ferdinand actually knows these cars that are in the video. So I thought it would be interesting to see both ends of the spectrum, right? You've got this like, hey, you know what? You're doing better off than you think you are, versus, yeah, there's no way you can keep up with this. I thought that would be interesting. So let's bounce back and forth between those. Ferdinand, you ready to go for it?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's see how this goes.
Have you ever looked at your finances and thought, this isn't enough? Yeah, you got some savings, no debt, maybe even a good job, but the anxiety is still there. The fear, the pressure around money. Why? Because we have been conditioned to believe that financial success is all about the numbers and the numbers alone. Your salary.
Especially the number of supercars you have, like Manny Koshman.
Right.
Your net worth, some magical milestone in your retirement account. But what if those aren't the real signs of success at all? Today, I want to shift that thinking. There are other signs, quiet, subtle, overlooked signs that prove you are doing better than you think. Starting with number 1, you have an emergency fund that covers 6 months of expenses.
Okay. So I would actually love to jump in on this one. So, Ferdinand, we recently talked about how I left my corporate job. I've been there for ages, I think since 2013. And I was working in corporate finance. Basically, the job that I had was consulting with credit union CEOs, showing them how to make more money with less risk. Sounds kind of familiar, right?
Right.
Save time, make money, start winning with less risk. That's what I've been doing in one way or another for decades at this point. And when OVTLYR started blowing up, I'm like, this is an opportunity that I have to take. I have to jump on this. Like, there is nothing in my life with the exponential growth curve looking at it like being a business owner, right? You would know.
Yep.
And so it's like, okay, I got to jump. This is it. But the one thing that gave me a lot of peace at night, a lot of being able to sleep, even though between my wife and I, we had a lot of conversations, and she's like, it sounds like you already made up your mind. And I'm like, I do. My mind is made up. But I have years of savings in the bank at this point. My emergency fund will cover us for years, right? My trading account will cover us for years. So that gave me a lot of peace, right? Being able to just be like, okay, if everything goes sideways, we're going to be all right. Lifestyle doesn't have to change, and we will be fine for years to come. That's a huge deal. So, I mean, for me, that was invaluable. What about for you?
It's funny that you say that because, well, you know this, and I'll share it with people in the chat too. There's no reason to hide anything, but that was a savior for me when I just had that split from my other partners. So I had a substantial amount of money coming in every single month, and living kind of high on the hog. Like, life was easy. It was a dream life, and then things get cut because people get greedy in business. It's just business all the way around. I don't think it's anything just with this one situation. I think it's business all the way around. People are just like that. So you had one person that wanted to take what I was bringing in and divvy it up against themselves because I had already got them to the rankings that they had already needed. So that got taken away from me. And when you take a lump sum away from a person or yourselves, and there's nothing there to replace it, or you don't have anything there like in reserves. I had a lot of crypto. I had stuff saved. I had I had so much stuff that I could just liquidate. And then the fires hit like in LA, so our supercar business got mashed. Like, that was a huge loss because then you've got, I think we had 13 supercars, and I think we have 3 left.
Wait, you had 13 supercars?
What's that?
You personally had 13 supercars?
My partner and I, yeah.
Goodness.
So, yeah, it was, it wasn't like I put all the money into it. We had some investors from Dubai. But yeah, that changes everything. So looking at what this is saying, it's absolutely 100%. I would say, like, what you have is perfect. You have a year, 2 years put away, great. Even if you don't, there's still ways out of it. You don't let things beat you over the head and think that you're going to lose. You can still get out of it. If you don't have the savings, you're just going to have to work a little bit harder, but it's good to have.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So having an emergency fund that covers 6 months, at least 6 months, right? Maybe more. But now let's switch over to Manny Koshman. I think this is going to be fun, actually, going back and forth.
Right.
Channel. My new garage is taking forever. That's why you see my beard coming out. But we're getting very close. And as you guys saw from last video, I was trying to figure out where to put my desk. So today I figured we're gonna take a few of my cars, do a site planning, space planning, whatever you want to call it. See, where do I want to put that massive desk? Because I only get one shot. Once I lay it down, it's not movable. So Nate, it's your lucky day. I'm gonna have you drive one of these monster cars.
No, really?
Maybe two of them. And Henry, my detailer, is also here today. And today's is his lucky day. What's happening?
This
Nothing. What do you?
What's up?
So I don't know if people know this, but in Irvine, there was a place that was called the Trinity Broadcast Network. Like that's my stomping ground. So I grew up.
Trinity Broadcast Network, isn't that like church?
Christian, yeah, it was a big Christian like channel with all these people. So that's where they filmed it. So he bought that whole property. So you like go in there and it's like all like kind of gaudy, and it's got like these huge staircases with like gold and like angel. Like it's really kind of funny what he's done. And then he's got these supercars in there. He made the whole like bottom.
Is that this place, or that's where he's going to from this video?
Right there. That's the Trinity Broadcast Network. That's the whole parking lot and everything where he brought everything in. Yeah. So it's so funny to see. He's got so much space there. It's ridiculous.
So you were saying though, before we started, Ferdinand was talking about, was it this car?
Oh, and that Bugatti back there. So that Pagani is probably one of the most, and it's like, you think brown, right? Like ugly crap brown, but this Pagani is absolutely breathtaking. The color and that Bugatti in the back, if it's the one I'm thinking it is, I think it is. The color, the spec, like the way he specs all of his cars is absolutely ridiculous. So he's going to make money when he sells them. So he's not buying these to lose money. So people got to understand that with supercars, you don't lose money. You make money on them, especially if you buy the right spec. If you buy the wrong spec, you're going to lose. But if you buy the right spec, you're going to make money. You may make 15, 20, 30, sometimes 100, 200,000 on some of them. So his specs that he chooses are just, it's like an artist.
Okay, hang on. Wait, let's back up just a second here, because I had heard that that's like a thing where people buy a supercar somehow and then they flip it later on for more money. How are we doing this? How are we flipping things that are depreciating assets for more money? So,
specs are rare when you look at a supercar. So if you have for instance, I was looking at I'm not doing this right now. That's just something I was looking at. So don't think that this is what I'm buying right now, but I was looking at a Bentley Continental. And that's probably going to be the next car that I'm going to get, because I'm slowing down in life.
Let's Google this up here.
It's got the Continental GT Speed. That's the one I'm looking at.
GT Speed?
Yeah.
By the way, I'm loving this conversation. This is fun to me.
All right.
So
you can see down there. You can see some images where they go, but it's just a very
GT Speed. I agree to all.
Yeah, it's a very just a very clean car. I wouldn't get the green.
I was about to ask, is that the color you'd go for?
No. I'm into like matte colors. Like I'll usually get them wrapped to protect the paint, and then.
But is that the hero color? I have a friend that so he works for Toyota, and he's got access to whatever cars he wants, basically, that are Toyota cars. And he's like, I always get the hero color car. Like this would be the hero color for that car.
There's like Continentals always have this, like the blue, has always been like their sky blue has always been like this like staple color. But I mean, that green, and you can pick whatever. This is where the specs come in. Okay, perfect, right there. See that orange, gray, and almost, that's a good spec, because that's different. That's where you're going to have saleability later on. If that was all black, it's boring. Everybody's got a black interior. It's not going to do anything for you. So normally when you're doing the specs like these, you're picking out the colors, and or if you're not picking out the colors. You're buying one that someone picked out, and it just matches what you want. And you're seeing that you can make money with it. So that's the key. And it's not like you can just go and go buy a supercar. You've got to build your credit up, and you've got to get the right profile. You got to know where to go to get the financing, and there's a whole process to it. It takes like a year to just get qualified for it. But see, like that spec is an amazing spec. Like you wouldn't see that everywhere. So that if you hold that, and then you hold the car for like a year, 2 years, well, actually not even 2 years, you hold it for like a year. Someone is going to be a collector, or they're going to want that specific model. So you buy the models that people want. Like you don't get the Continental GT, you get the GT Speed, because you want to have something that people desire later on. And then you spec that specific, model to a very desirable spec. It may be, you could have changed the color from that orange to a green. You could have changed that to, to a yellow, whatever color combinations you want to make. I know one of my old handlers with, when I was with my business mentor, she had a Ferrari F8, and she can't buy them anymore because she stitched into the dashboard her logo. She was called the Black Widow. And she stitched a Black Widow into the dashboard. And anything that you do to Ferraris, if you deface them, they put you on a
Ferrari is crazy. I forget. I think it's Justin Bieber or somebody painted or wrapped his car like something crazy.
Yeah, you'll never be able to buy
no more Ferraris for you. No more Ferraris.
You'll never buy another one.
That's so weird to me.
Yeah, so she had one of these. She was pretty gangster in business. Probably one of the best women I've ever seen in business. She was amazing. Taught me a lot. But she would get on calls. I remember she got on a call to a business in Florida, and they were like, "Oh, we'll fly you out, and we can have the meeting." And I think it was we're doing something with Disney, and she was like, "No, I'll fly myself out." And they're like, "But we'll pay for the whole thing." She's like, "No, I'm gonna." And then they had a car for her, and she was like, "No, I'm shipping my car. I'm gonna driving my car. Like I want my." So she shipped her car out there so that she could drive it around. I mean, she was. You look at certain things and you're like, budget wise, like I wouldn't have done that, because that's going to be like that's an expensive trip, So especially with flights and then shipping, and because you got to cover them,
right?
Cover the carrier.
So
yeah, you spec them out the right way.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. So basically, you're taking a rare car to start with, and making it more rare by the options and loading in and stuff. What if you reach a point where you've optioned it out in an undesirable way, right? I mean, I imagine you could, whatever the dollars cost, you could get this thing in pink with baby blue seats inside, right?
Oh,
with,
you're gonna lose. And you'll see that with like DJ Khaled and Rick Ross. They do stupid stuff to vehicles. They're never gonna sell. That's just a loss. You take that as a loss. And again, you don't buy this under your personal name. You're buying this under a corporation. So, if you do take a loss, and it's an absolute loss, you can BK the company, but it's not going on your personal credit. So that's probably what they're doing in that situation. I would never see someone buy a specced out car like a blinged out, Aston Martin. No one's going to buy that. Nobody's going to buy that, but a rapper will, like stupid stuff like that. So you can lose a lot of money in this as well.
So, but I'm having a hard time conceptualizing why if I spent $250,000 on this car, I don't know, ballpark, why would somebody pay more than that a year from now?
So the rarity goes with the models. So let's take a Aventador. Let's take it even further. Aventador SVJ. Like let's take it like heavy.
SVJ?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like these are like unicorns, like absolute unicorns. They just are very hard to get. I have a buddy of mine that he just flipped one of his. He held it for about a year and a half, and then flipped it because he needed to make some extra cash. I think he made about $200,000 off of it, because these are heavy duties.
Wait, he made $200,000 in profit?
Yeah, from his flip. But
who
his was
buys this? Who is spending that much more?
I don't know who he sold it. He right now he took like he and his girlfriend took like this long trip to Dubai, and they're going some other places right now. So I haven't talked to him in probably about a month, but yeah, he just sold this. And he's been doing this for a while. He's a ex-pro skater. Um, and that's kind of just what he does. He just buys, he'll buy these cars and then he'll flip them and then have fun with them. And the one thing is though, you can't drive these cars as a daily, like
That's
you're
what I was going to
limited
ask
to
next,
them.
actually.
What's that?
I was going to ask that next is, can you actually drive them? Because the mileage, of course, every mile hurts you.
Yeah, you're gonna put maybe, I think on average, the rule of thumb is maybe like you're not gonna get that much mileage. You're gonna maybe put like 2 to 3 miles a year
2
on
to
the
3?
car. 2 to 3,000. Yeah, you're
Oh,
not
okay. I was
driving
going to
it.
say 2 to 3.
Yeah, no, not 2 to 3 miles, like 2 to 3,000. And in all honesty, man, they're pretty. They look great. They're not comfortable. It's not a very comfortable ride. They're you can change the the models that you're driving with. And Lamborghinis I know the most because I've had them, but you can change things in them to make them a little bit more, but it's still a very bumpy, very loud.
Hmm.
And
I
it's
think you were
right
telling me
behind
about
your
that
head.
last time. Like
Yeah.
how it's not like driving in a Toyota.
No, no, there's a lot of vibration. It's loud, especially if you're driving it for a certain period of time. Like you can go into the eco mode and it tones everything down. But why are you going to drive in eco mode when you have a Lambo? Like who's going to do that? Like that's stupid. Like you got to put it in Corsa. That's
Right.
where,
That makes sense.
so,
So
but you do get, your head's going to be like,
Your head's going to be flattened by the back of the seat all the time,
it's
right?
just an annoying hum, like the constant that's back there. So that's one thing, just being honest, that's not an enjoyable, and getting out as you get older, that's not fun because it's so low. That's a struggle. And I'm only 5'6", so that kind of it's very hard, very difficult. So that's why I'm getting out of this whole speed, getting into more of I mean, I have my truck. I've got my S8 that I love. I can't get rid of my S8. I've
Oh, I
tried, and
saw one of those the other day. I thought of you. The blacked out.
that's right now is my favorite car. Like
Yeah, it's
for
long.
what's that?
It's really long.
Well, I have a shorter, mine's a little bit shorter. But it's a 4-door,
Yeah.
but it's not a coupe. So that's the difference. But I love the car. My son's happy in the back. He's got his own stuff back there. Like it's a cool little car. Now talking about this compared to the video we're watching about having the savings, I would never ever go to purchase one of these cars if I didn't have. Is that a Batman?
Maybe.
Well, I got the Pepsi.
Oh yeah, there you go. Very cool.
Sorry, I saw that and I was like, it's not the Batgirl, it's the Batman.
Yeah, Chris bought a couple things recently.
Dude, that's a great watch. It's a very nice, love it. Congratulations, those are good
Oh,
ones.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So yeah, I would never buy one of these cars or even an S8, because that's like $100,000 cheaper if I didn't have the income. Like that's just dumb. That's what you see people like doing and dumb decisions. You've got to be qualified for it to make sure that you can pay for it. And the upkeep. There's a lot of upkeep with these cars. People don't realize. When you go to get an oil change or anything done on a Lambo, don't think you're going to get out of there spending anything less than $1,000. And that's just for them to look at the car. Like you're just going to be spending. You'd probably spend about $4,000 to $5,000 every time you take it in.
Yikes.
Yeah, but you just have to deal with that. Now, if you buy like the new Ferraris, buy new, and that has a whole aspect to it too, where they got to even approve you to even come in. Like that can be a little haughty. But they have some warranties where you can have free oil changes for like the first 2 years, I believe it is. So there's some benefits to it, but it's just I wouldn't jump into this. I was trying to look if there was any questions.
There was a question. It said, Ferdinand, since you're speaking directly to Chris, can you please ask him how much OVTLYR would cost to an individual who is considering getting into trading? Thanks. Well, Eric, I think that's a brilliant question. In fact, if you're ready to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk, you can do so by going over to OVTLYR.com, grabbing the annual pass, which is just 82 cents a day. And if you want to get the monthly plan, you can upgrade from the monthly plan to the annual pass with one click, Ferdinand, and you'll save 64% off the regular monthly price. I don't know if you heard that. It's a pretty sweet deal.
Guys, you don't understand what's coming. Like, there's one thing that I have been so impressed with Mahesh and Mark, and well, the whole team. This, like, OVTLYR's team is extremely amazing, but the updates are it's going to be amazing when these people see what's going to be coming with what Mahesh and Mark have been working on. This like amazing stuff that you guys are in store for. I can't imagine what the latter part of this year is going to look like. If we can get that easy button done, remember the easy, if we can get that done, man, I will be like jumping for joy.
Well, not only that, but like we talked yesterday about how Mark figured out, hang on, let me pop in the platform real quick. Mark figured out something using the volatility histogram, which is really interesting.
Right. Yes.
So let's pop over to that real quick.
Just wait, guys.
By the way,
MMA Italia, they are cooking. Like, they are like, this isn't even a cook. This is like a banquet, what they're doing.
Dude. And it's so funny. Like, I love these conversations because we started on one thing, then we went to another, and now we're going on a different rabbit hole. Like, it's just
I can't hold back from keeping these secrets from like the people that join us on these. Like, this early, like for a lot of these, like 1 a.m. and they're here joining us. So I can't hold back and keep anything in our Wednesday meetings. Like, I'm the one that I'm that SNL girl that can't hold the secrets that, you know, me on these Thursday morning. It's like, I just can't. Hold on.
Right. No, I know exactly what you mean. So one thing that Mark figured out is the volatility of the stocks using the volatility histogram, which most people just like completely ignore. And I do too, honestly. But there are stocks that fall onto different spectrums, if you want to think of it that way, different spectrums of the volatility histogram, meaning they have frequent numbers of big moves to the upside versus frequent numbers of big moves to the downside, and somewhere in between, right? So imagine we found a stock with lots of big moves to the upside, it would fall somewhere like right here. Or if we found a stock with lots of big moves to the downside, it would fall somewhere in here. And then layering in on top of that, the performance summary, right? What are the backtested results with OVTLYR? And so basically we're trying to pinpoint how bigly these stocks move using the performance summary to tell us where the results are using the OVTLYR signals, not just moves in general, but how accurately we've hit those moves. And so using this grid like this, we're going to be able to like put them in different segments and say, okay, who's ever up in this segment here, these are the top performers of all time, basically. And who's down in this corner down here are the worst performers of all time. You should probably stay away from them, even if you get a buy signal. Even if OVTLYR 9's all lined up, they really suck in general. So I'm really curious to see, because we had this conversation too. It's like they make these incredible signals, they figure out all this stuff, and then they give it to me to figure out how to make the most money with it, right? Like we all have our specialties in this realm here, and I'm very excited about that because I don't know if I want to be trading these guys all the time, because maybe they're maxed out. Right? Maybe I want to look more for someone, you know, down in this curve area right here because they're not completely maxed out. I don't know. Or maybe I only trade things that are in this half and I completely avoid anything in this half kind of deal. I don't know. So I'm very excited to see where this is going.
And that's 9, right? That's the with the new UI that we saw that's going to be kind of up there underneath the stock details.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be replacing Master Key, because Master Key was before we figured out the OVTLYR 9, right? In fact, if we go back to what the master key is, it's just the trend, the signal, and the breadth of the market with the breadth of the sectors, right? That's the master key. But the OVTLYR 9 takes that and adds in everything you'd want to know about the stock, about the sector, and totally sets you up for the slingshot, which makes life so much easier, right? So you can look at it and see, okay, OVTLYR 9 set up, let's go. And then I don't know if you saw Mahesh yesterday when he was when he was saying he was going to have the master key overlay ready. I was like, can we do the OVTLYR 9 overlay instead? And he's like, God,
Oh,
Chris, come
yeah.
on. I know. I'm sorry. I have so much to ask for, but it basically will highlight on the chart when the master key, which will soon be replaced by OVTLYR 9, is set up. So that'll make it really cool.
This is going to be in a very exciting year. Like there are some big things in stores. This is going to be really amazing. I'm excited for where it's going, for what people are going to see, because I do not think that the whole easy button, like the minute that gets done, I think that's going to shoot things to a whole new realm. I don't know how hard it is to get all this done, that whole secret, the easy button. But I keep pushing it. I've been pushing it for months.
Yeah.
I'm working for you guys to make it. I don't even know if I want to bring up what it does, but
I was telling people the other day how you and Mahesh just like went at it a couple of weeks ago, and I was over there with my popcorn just listening. Like, this is fun.
Yeah. Okay. So let me give you I'm going to give everybody just a little. So my thing with this easy button was, think it's okay for me to say? Can I talk about it?
Mahesh ain't here to tell us no.
Yeah. Let's ask for forgiveness, right? So my whole thing as being, coming from the outside, I wanted to look at it like if I was telling my mom to jump into the program. So get into OVTLYR and do it. So my thing that I brought up to Mahesh, actually to all of you guys, was I want a big easy button. I don't want to look at all of this data. I want something that I can press and click and it connects to my account and just trades for me. I don't want to have to think about anything else. I would just like to use the data that's coming in and have it do everything for me automatically. I know I'm not the only one. I know my mom is not the only one. I know my wife is not the only one. I know other people would want this. So I'm pushing for it for all you guys. I'm pushing for it. I'm not going to shut up about it. Chris will tell you, I do not shut up about it. I keep talking about it and I'm going to push it, but we need a third party to take over that initial part to go into the accounts, from what I understand. But we're working on it. So that is my goal for you guys, is by like it was kind of for like the latter half of this year to work on that easy button, but some stuff came up and all this stuff came and took precedence. But that's what I'm pushing for, is it'll have you're going to have one section that's going to be like what you guys see, and then you're going to have another section that's going to just be the easy button. And that's all you're really going to see. Just connect it to, pick your whatever stocks you want to do or whatever you're going to follow, connect it, bam, it does the trades for you. Then you don't have to do anything manual. So I let the secret out of the bag. Sorry.
No. I've mentioned this before. Mahesh is basically going to automate everything that I do. Yeah. So I won't have to do anything, which I'm cool with, right? They'll give me more time to talk about Lambos and stuff, but
it's just saving time. I think with AI and the capabilities of what OVTLYR can do, and programming algorithms through nodes, and then having something that can then connect and listen, it's possible. I know it is. It's possible. So I'm just going to keep pushing for it, because manifestation is just constant over and over and over and over again. So it's going to get manifested somehow, some way.
I'm all about that. Now, one thing that, where's I going with this? I'm really excited about all this. But of course it's going to take some time, right? And so we're pushing all the time. Mahesh, like I was telling them yesterday, Mahesh doesn't sleep, right? He doesn't sleep. He's constantly making these upgrades. But when we talk about this, people get really skeptical, right? And I've been there too, where I've heard, oh, look at this legendary trading system. It's obviously a scam, right? I think that's something we're going to have to figure out how the right messaging would come across, where people understand that this is real, this is reality. And I know a lot of that is easily done by just showing how it works, showing it every day, showing the money I'm making, the money that our customers are making. So I'm really excited about that. But my concern is, how do we make sure we run the line of, this is so awesome, this is amazing, we need everybody to know about it, and not go over the line of, this is too good to be true, too good to be true, everybody's going to think it's a scam, you know?
Right. That's a very thin line to walk, because And in a sense, I mean, Outlier is almost too good to be true. And it's not like it's trying to be too good to be true. It's just the data and the symbols and the signals are far superior than what's a lot of things that are out there. So, yeah, that's I get it. That's the difficulty of trying to make it not sound like it's too good to be true, but it really is an amazing piece of software. It's kind of like, I look at it like Google, back in the day, it was like no one really knew they needed search until they started using search and got on the internet and saw how much it helped them. And I think that's what Outlier is going to do for people. It's going to help them, and especially now with the way things are going for people, like the security and having that security and knowing that you can have the stock market work for you and have a system that's having the stock market work for you like that, and have guidance to help you with, like, we're really trying to do everything we can to change things. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's going to be that message is going to be difficult.
Falcon Film and Media had a really good point there. When your fund's up 200% year over year, they're going to trust you. And so that's one of the reasons why. So I told you, right, I would have won the 24 US Investing Championship by like 1 percentage point. I didn't even realize it was. We were looking at the results online one day, and the top performer in the options category was up 90%, and I was up 91.37. I had no idea that I was even in the competitive realm. And I was like, wait, what? And that was in 24, right?
Are you doing it this year?
I didn't realize, honestly, the reason I didn't is because I told Mahesh and Mark that I wanted to do it, but I didn't think that we were ready because we're going to have so many upgrades in 25, which is already the case, right?
But will that make it too good to be true? Like if you win that stock trading competition, like by like, let's say almost 120%, like
that's what I'm talking about. So in 26, I will 1000% be getting into it. And we are going, I'm so confident for it. Like, it's not even going to be close. We're going to dominate it. And we're going to like point to the scoreboard, right? We're going to say LeBron, right? LeBron,
Right.
We're going to win this year after year after year. You're going to watch every single trade that I put on, and you can follow along and you can have the same results if you choose to, or you can sit on the sidelines and bitch and moan about how much money I'm making when you're not doing anything, right? That the choice is yours. Right. The choice is absolutely yours. You can go follow other YouTubers who are going to make you go down the rabbit hole of losing for 5 months before you're back to break even, or you can follow somebody who's a champion. That's my plan.
I love that. I love that. And I think it's going to shed a whole bunch of light on Outlier when you do this. It's going to be, that's going to be huge. That's where I think where we're going to have the enemy ally issue. Where people are going to be like, we got to take Outlier out. We got to get them out of here. There's just doing too much.
Well, they could take Outlier out, but it'll cost them.
Well, that's what we're here for, right? Like, keep having no comments.
Okay. So we started off with 7 signs you're doing well financially. Let's at least breeze through these, right? Let's at least breeze through these. First, we've got emergency fund. Second one, let's see.
You're not carrying credit card debt.
You're not carrying credit card debt, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because I think it's Benjamin Franklin said compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world, right? Mm-hmm. You want to be on the side where the compound interest is working for you, not working against you, right? And especially credit cards, where like I think average rate's like 25%, give or take.
Yeah. Think
something like that. Anyway. Could you imagine your investments working for you 25%? That's outstanding. Your debts working against you 25% is debilitating. Like, almost unrecoverable.
It really is. It really is. That's how people get trapped.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one here. You regularly contribute 10+% to your investments. Now, I'm a huge believer of this, right? I wouldn't be where I am today had I not contributed, plenty of money to investments. Now, if you are at a company that has a 401k matching, something like that, if you aren't taking advantage of that, you're literally leaving free money. Mm-hmm. Just you're watching money evaporate, right? So the company I was at had a 6% matching. So if you contribute 6%, they'll match you 6%. If you contribute 4%, they'll match you 4%. If you contribute 10%, they'll still put in 6%. Point is, that's free money.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people live a lifestyle where they can't contribute 6+%, whatever the company matching is. And then they're basically shooting themselves in the foot for the rest of their lives, right? Pull back on the lifestyle a little bit. That way you can contribute more. That way you can have more free money deposited into your account. Like there's no better return than 100% return for free.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. All right, let's see number 4 here. Here we go. You spend at least 15% of your income guilt-free. I didn't expect him to go to the spending route. I like that.
Yeah, that's
like that.
interesting. And
I
that's
hadn't
not
really
a
ever
lot.
calculated it,
2%.
but
I mean, that's fair.
yeah, and I like that. I mean, it's not overwhelming, but I like how I put guilt-free.
Yeah, it keeps you. Keeps you in a nice kind of targeted range. It's not bad.
Well, if you can't spend it, what's the point of even having a job, right?
Thank you.
Like if you're just working to pay the bills, if you're just working to pay the mortgage, just working to pay the utilities, just working to pay for gas to put in your car, I mean, you're not enjoying your life so much.
Not at all.
Like for example, my house cleaner, she spends more on rent than I do on my mortgage.
Wow.
And it's crazy.
Well,
Like,
I
and we
think
have a
that's
big, beautiful
happening
house.
across the board right now too with people. I think that there are places that are just taking advantage of people that aren't owners. I hear about it all the time over here where you got landlords that are just going crazy and charging out the wazoo for renters. So yeah, that's a whole sad, thing that I feel for people. Like that sucks for your housekeeper.
Dude, I know. But we've been in here for a while. We put a whole heap and helping full down when we bought the house, things like that. But I mean, that's a very different financial situation, right? To be able to do that and to pay the rent versus the mortgage, and the rent costs more. It boggles my mind. It really does. All right, let's see. That's a rich life. Did we miss number 5? Where's number 5? Trying to skim through this to find number 5 here. Here we go.
Yes.
Number 5. You can make last-minute decisions without panicking. That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good one, actually. Because that's like, let's say you need new tires. Like I know my tires are like $400 a piece.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, if you can do that with no issues, cool. You can, little things like that pop up, that will pop up, that they don't, not like, maybe it's like something is going to happen, like it's just ridiculous that and if you can't take care of that, then that's also going to mentally weigh in on you, and then psychologically it's going to play out in who you are and how you interact with people, because now you're feeling maybe that you're not worth anything, or you're not worthy, or how it goes when people aren't making any money. They're going through some issues mentally, just trying to find their value with certain things. So that is a huge thing, making those last minute decisions. I agree with that 100%.
Dude, just this last week we learned about a government, a US T-bill ETF. So basically a way to invest in T-bills that's ultra liquid, where you can get in and out same day, no issues whatsoever. And that's paying, whatever the short-term rates are, which is between 4 and 5%, right? And my mortgage is like 3%. So my thought is, I can pay for the interest on my mortgage and have cash left over at the end of the year. I didn't have to do anything. How cool is that? Like that's arbitrage to the greatest extent. I was so stoked when we figured that out.
That's great. That is great. See, this is where I listen to you guys from that type of stuff, because then I can learn from you guys on it.
Well, I just learned from one of our viewers, right? They were like, why don't you put your money in SGOV? And I had been putting my cash just in cash, literally sitting in nothing. And when I go to trade, I put it from cash into the trade.
Right.
And so when they brought that up, it's one of those, it planted the seed of doubt, right? The seed of doubt starts to spread, and it's like, hey, what's going on over here, right? And so when I started researching this more, and I talked to one of our alpha group members, and he uses that particular vehicle, and I was like, well, this is really, really smart. So I can put all of it into SGOV, And then just when I need some, sell out the portion I need. If it's 10%, sell out 10% and put 10% into a trade. Once that trade's done, put it back over here into SGOV, and it's constantly earning. I don't have to do anything. I mean, I literally will have more cash every day in my account.
And what was the rate?
Well, so it follows the U.S. government T-bonds. So I'll show you real quick. So government T-bond yield. Hang on. We saw something yesterday that was perfect. Yield curve. Hold on. There was one that was like the absolute most perfect chart that I wanted to see. This is 10-year treasury. Hold tight. If I knew where it was, I should have bookmarked it. Well, this will do. So it's basically an average between the 1 month to 3 month, and current rate would be somewhere between 432 and 444.
Okay.
Right? Now, of course, this is going to change as rates change in the market, right? So we go back here, 445 to 436. So it's a little bit higher than it was. But you go, let's look at last year. Let's go like halfway. Let's go to June last year.
Whoa.
June last year, it was paying somewhere like 550, give or take. So it's going to change based on market rates. However, that's hellaciously better than anything else you could get out.
Oh, gosh. Are you kidding?
And it's liquid, right? I don't have to wait 3 days for it to settle, right? I don't have to. There's high yield savings accounts out there, right? I don't have to take it out of my brokerage account, send it to the high yield savings account. Let's say it's at like ING. I don't have to take it from my brokerage account over to ING, which is going to take 3 days, right? And then when I want to make a trade, I have to wait 5 days for it to come from one back to the other. It's instantly, I want to buy this, I'm going to own it right now. Boom. I need to trade something, so I'm going to sell a portion of it. I can invest it right now. I love it. This is so cool.
SGOV, you said?
SGOV, SGOV.
SGOV. Got it. I am going to. Where's my pen? I'm writing that down now.
Dude, I think about how much I would have made. How much I would have made had I known about this for years. I could have bought a Lambo. Going back to that. Yeah, I'm really annoyed. But that's part of investing, right?
It's all timing,
Yeah.
Wow, okay, interesting. I like that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Let's go to the last two. You have healthy money.
You have healthy money conversations.
Healthy money conversations, right? Dude, like, isn't money like the leading cause of divorces?
Yes. Yep.
And it's not because I can guarantee you one thing, Ferdinand. So yesterday I went to Costco with my wife. I needed scissors, because like the scissors disappear out of our kitchen all the time, and I don't know where my kids put them, and it drives me up a wall. So I'm like, F this noise. I'm gonna go buy some new scissors. So I went to Costco to get scissors and red Solo cups, because we need some red Solo cups, which that would have cost me maybe $25-30-ish out the door, maybe $446 later, because my wife tagged along.
Yeah.
I don't think the money conversations are due to the men not spending too much. I think it's you don't earn enough to fund my lifestyle is a lot of the conversations that come through. Or Betsy over there just got a new Louis Vuitton purse. What have you done for me? Oh, look at Sally. She and her family are in the Yucatan Peninsula on vacation, and we're stuck here doing this. I think that's a lot of conversations. If I had to guess, I think that's a lot of it.
And it's I think people finances are huge. I always try to tell people it's like money, it doesn't buy you happiness, but it does buy you options. And if you don't have options, especially in a marriage, then you're gonna have a rough marriage. It's like if you're going down the grocery aisle and can you get Wagyu or do you have to get bologna? Total two, you know what I mean? Like, who's gonna be happier? So I see, I'm on the flip side. So I'm restricted from going to Costco and the grocery stores, because every time I go, I'm just picking stuff and I'm putting it in. I want to try. Yeah, my wife does not.
So you're the one who's spending at Costco. That's funny.
Yeah, she has restricted me from doing the shopping. Like, even when she goes shopping, she doesn't want me going with her. She's like, no.
That's so funny. It's the opposite in my house. So I've heard that there's like two personality types when they're shopping, right? There's hunters and gatherers.
Okay.
Right. Like for example, when we run out of hand soap, like and I've done this before. Like, oh, I'm out of hand soap. Let me go over to Bath and Body Works and buy one hand soap, right? Whereas my wife, she walks in, she's like, oh my God, we need 10 hand soaps and I need some body wash and we need some candles. And it's $68 later when it was just a $3 hand soap that I was in there for. And I remember specifically when I went into there one time to get the hand soap, I walked up to the counter and I was like, here's my hand soap. And she's like, where's the rest of your stuff? The cashier. And I'm like, this is all I'm getting. She's like, what? I've never seen anybody with one thing.
I'm going to get you, sucker. How much is it for one rib?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's like hunters and gatherers in shopping. So maybe you're the gatherer in this case.
I think I am. I think it comes from just, like I've had moments when you're building wealth, like you don't just come into it. Like you go through a lot of loss and a lot of being broke and trying to figure things out. And so when you are able to have things where you didn't before, like I remember like times where my refrigerator, I remember one time, man, I had no place to live. Like I didn't have a place to live. My parents weren't there and I couldn't pay for anything. So I went to this boat yard and I broke into this. Well, I didn't break. Well, I guess I did break into the boat. I just lifted the cover. You know what I mean? It was the cover that was on top. And then I slept in the boat for like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 days until I could get like money together. And,
wow.
so you have these, and I was eating those Keebler Elves, those little chocolate covered graham cracker thingies, I don't know. They're chocolate covered. That was my food. So I would during the day, I'd try to go do some work. This is like when I was way, way young. And then I would go and sleep in the boat and do the same thing and then go and shower like in McDonald's, not shower, but wash off in McDonald's bathrooms to get myself up to that next level. So I think when I get things now, it's more of like, I don't want to be without. And, if I can afford 10 soaps, at least I know I got 10 soaps. So that's going to hold me over. Like when one runs out, I know that I got like 9 left and I don't have to worry about going back and getting them. It's kind of mental, I guess, in a sense, but.
Oh no, that is a really cool story, man. I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was, you go through things, man. It's like, that's just when you're growing and you're learning and you don't know where you're headed. And, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't have any North Star. You're just, it's like a ping pong ball. You're just bouncing. And you make, and an entrepreneur is you never make the best decisions all the time. Sometimes you make bad decisions and you got to live with those bad decisions, learn, and then correct them and then move on. So yeah, I've had my share of both, it's been fun and it's been sad and it's been hurtful.
Right. But now you can have those healthy money conversations.
Yes. 100%.
Look at that. Very cool. Look at we just wrapped that up nicely. Okay, let's do the last one here. Number 7, you're not relying on financial apps to feel in control. I don't here's what I do, Ferdinand. Oh, wrong button. Here's what I do, Ferdinand. I pay my bills, and whatever's left over goes into the savings account. I don't need any apps to tell me about that.
Yeah.
But then again, there's people who need the budgeting, who need the planning, who need that structure to make ends meet, right? There's more month at the end of the money kind of situation. So what about you? Do you use any apps? Like I keep it easy. I want everything automated. In fact, this just happened to me the other day. I have one insurance policy. Everything else in my life is automated, but I have one insurance policy. It's my umbrella insurance policy.
Okay.
And I always forget to pay it because it's not automated. Everything else in my life is automated. And I've done this 5 years in a row now. My insurance agent calls up and she's like, Chris, what's the deal? Are you going to pay this or not? And I'm like, isn't it already going to pay? And she's like, no, this is the one thing that is not automated for you. And I'm like, okay, hang on. It's like $200 later. I'm done with it. And like, it's so funny because for me, if it's not automated, it doesn't exist. Right. But if it's automated, it's easy. It just makes life so much easier.
Yeah, I don't use any apps for any of that. This is where I get a little careless because I just kind of use my CPA and financial advisor at the he keeps me in between, you know, bouncing off from either. So he just basically tells it, like, our conversations are like, he just tells me, you know, you live your life. I'm here to make sure that you don't get in any trouble.
Mm,
He doesn't tell me what to do. He just will correct things if I intermingle them, because I don't. Sometimes I budget, like, it's really bad, you know, but you get to a level to where you don't have to worry about those things. And again, from living in the world of squalor to where you're like, okay, I've got, you know, I remember I was at McDonald's one time and I couldn't afford a hash brown, dude. Like, I couldn't afford. I had the money, but I didn't have, like, I think it was like 35 cents. And I'm digging through my pockets and I'm trying just to get a hash brown. And this one lady came up from behind me, and she gave me $1. So I was able to actually get two. So that was
oh
my
wow.
breakfast. And I always, so now every time that I see anybody in any need, I don't care where it is. If you need food, I got you. I don't care. I got you. Not, you don't need to pay me back. I don't want any payback. I will take care of any homeless person with their food. I do not care, because I know food is an important part of just mental health, of just having it in your system. Vets, went there on the street, like, I will do that in a heartbeat, because that one moment where I was embarrassed and everybody's kind of looking at me and I'm, you know, I'm just a kid. I didn't have, and they weren't going to give me the hash brown. And this one lady just took it out of her. And I know it's only $1, but I didn't know if that was the last dollar she had. I didn't know, you know, she came out and she helped me. So when you do those things for people, and it's done to you, you never forget that, ever.
Yeah.
Like, that woman will be in my mind for the rest of my life. I'll never forget that situation.
And that was such a meaningful and impactful story. And it was literally $1.
$1. That's all I
Yeah.
needed. I just needed food. I just needed some food, and I didn't have it. The night before, I'd been robbed.
Oh wow.
This gang. I didn't know where I was. I was in an area that I didn't know, so I just had pulled over to the side, and then it was in a very bad neighborhood. And this Mexican gang, like 3 guys, came out, yanked me out of my car, put a gun to my head, and took my car. And then um, I woke up. I think they hit me with the gun because I had a thing over. I was scarred on my head, and then I woke up. I don't remember waking up. I was just walking down the street, and it was like all the lights were kind of shining, and I didn't have any place to go. And this is way back when there was no cell phones or anything. They had like pay phones and all that stuff. My family wasn't there, so I just had to like find a place to kind of stay for the night. And that's why I went to McDonald's in the morning to get some food. And then I called my uncle the next day because he worked like an hour away. And I was like, "Look, dude, I don't have anything. I need some help." And he came and got me. But that was the lady. She helped feed me. And that night before, when I was walking through like the park, a guy came that had a truck, and he gave me a sleeping bag because he saw me like just sitting there by the beach. And he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, I don't have any place to go tonight. I'm just waiting for tomorrow. And you know, and he was like, "Do you need some place to sleep?" And I was like, "I can hang out here." And he gave me a sleeping bag. I'm like those things you never ever forget. So like those things now, when I see people in need, it's just one of those things that, you know, I tell my son every time, you look for the intention and you always try to help people when you're in this position in life. You got to do
Dude,
that.
I really appreciate you sharing those stories, Ferdinand. Like, look at
Yeah,
us. We have, this is such a cool vibe. I love hanging with you. Like, we get to go through all this, right? It's like the Joe Rogan podcast, right? It can go in all these different directions.
and
I
any
love
direction.
hearing
Yeah.
these stories. This is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Hopefully there's
Oh,
no
dude.
judgments.
Dude, I can learn so much from you. It is amazing. Like, I feel so blessed to be able to learn from you, because you've lived a lot of life. You've made a lot of money in ways that I've never even thought about. And so I'm learning a lot and growing as well. So this is great.
I appreciate it, man. That's what we're here for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're
So
all
listen,
family.
Ferdinand, thanks so much for coming and hanging with us today. Really appreciate you, and especially sharing those stories. That's you know, it takes a lot to be vulnerable out on the internet, right? Not everybody wants to share those kind of things, right? It's mostly, look at my awesome stuff, I'm such a big winner. But then again, we don't always share the vulnerable, you know, hard parts of what's
Yep.
going on. So
Yeah.
it's
And
really
those are
awesome.
I think those are the important parts is you've got to, life isn't always good all the time. Like, oh, thanks,
Yeah.
Rick. I
But
appreciate
Ferdinand
that, man.
Thursdays are awesome. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I love being with you guys. Love hanging out with you, Chris. It's all you spark my financial interest in many ways. So I'll be learning from
Thanks,
you
dude.
for years.
This is my jam. I love this. Like making money. That's my bread and butter. But we do it in different ways, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So the goal is always to make more, but we just go about it in different ways, which is really, really cool.
Exactly.
So, dude, thanks for coming and hanging, and thank you all for watching. Don't forget, if you want to save money and start winning with less risk, you've got to click one of these two videos. One's over my head, one's over Ferdinand's head. But if you don't want to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk, go watch some other channel. Y'all have a fantastic day. We'll talk soon.